Is One Battle After Another the best movie of the year? Is it God's gift to men? Did the rapture actually happen just a couple days later when this movie came out? Here are the questions that I'm here to answer. I saw it last night. Let's talk about it. I saw One Battle After Another last night. I saw it in IMAX digital. And I think the format that we talk about how we viewed this movie is important. You know, that we discuss and hammer down exactly what the experience was that we each had, because it's one of those movies where that's really important. It's available in a lot of different formats. There's IMAX 70 millimeter. And there's IMAX digital, which is where I saw it. There's regular digital, which that would be the lowest recommendation. There is 70 millimeter, regular, like the super wide format. And then there's VistaVision, which there hasn't been a movie projected in VistaVision in decades. And in fact, there's only 4 cities, as far as I know, worldwide, where it's available to see it in that format. It was shot in VistaVision. And you might be thinking, it hasn't been decades. The Brutalist was in VistaVision. The Brutalist was shot in VistaVision, but never projected that way. So those are the available formats. And, you know, the image is different. Like what you're actually seeing is different in each of those formats. And so I think it's important to kind of, or at least fun, to talk about how you saw it. But this is definitely a movie that you want to see in a theater. And it's going to be a drastically lessened experience if you wait to see it at home. And I think that's almost always the case. That's my personal opinion. But this is definitely one of those where it's certainly the case. So catch this in a theater. And the reason I'm talking about this movie the way that I'm talking about it is I want to say that this movie is fantastic. It's electrifying. It's invigorating. I loved it. It may be the best movie of the year. I'm not ready to say that, but it may be. It may be the best movie that Paul Thomas Anderson has ever made. I'm also not ready to say that. I've never seen Phantom Thread, I know, and I've never seen Hard 8, and I've never seen Punch Drunk Love. But I'm still thinking, I do love me some There Will Be Blood. But this movie is incredible. But the way people are talking about this movie is, oh my God, it's the best movie of the millennium. It's the best movie since Jesus left, which has been some years. And so that's a bold statement. And so whenever that happens, your average moviegoer will go in like, ah. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't explode. I thought I would explode. So temper your expectations. You have to understand that the people that are saying these things, because like every friend that I have on Letterboxd, every critic that I follow is giving this 5 stars. And they've said some crazy, bold things. They're over the moon. And what you have to understand is that a movie directed by Paul Thomas Anderson with this particular cast, you've got Leonardo DiCaprio, you've got Sean Penn, you've got Benicio del Toro, Teyana Taylor, Regina Hall, and a newcomer that I want to talk a lot about here soon. This is like Avengers Endgame to ultra movie nerds. If you're just an average moviegoer, if you're a civilian, sounds pretentious, but I'm just saying, like, it might be a different experience and you need to temper your expectations that way. I thought this movie was incendiary. I thought it was incredible. It's very timely, like a lot of movies nowadays, but unlike Eddington or Begonia, which is a movie that I got to see early at Fantastic Fest, the newest Yorgos Lanthimos film, this is the electric hope grenade that I've been searching for. A lot of the movies talking about the times we're living in, the confusion, the alternate realities that we all seem to be living in online spaces, and it's all just a giant cluster of fear and sadness and oppression. And I love that movies are calling attention to that, but none of them are presenting any kind of solution or even any kind of optimism about the situation. And I think this movie does. One Battle After Another talks about a fight against oppression in a really optimistic way. And I think for that reason, it's really important. So what this movie's about, you might be wondering, is a group of American revolutionaries fighting against oppression, the system. And it's a story that spans decades, but more specifically, a story that spans generation and centers around a father and his daughter. And I think what the movie ultimately ends up doing is depicting this struggle being handed down to future generations, but also in a really, really clever way. Just, it was a calming effect on me talking about how this fight against racism, against bigotry, against white supremacy, against the man has been going on for as long as society has existed and will continue long after I'm gone. And so in that sense, it's very arrogant, very self-centered of me to experience despair. There's a moment in this movie that I won't spoil, but it's with a particular character who is of a culture that has been fighting this fight for a long time. And one of the white characters is like freaking out, like, this is terrible. They're coming. What are we going to do? And the other character is like, dude, it's fine. We've been doing this for centuries. Go in the tunnel. You know what I mean? And I don't know that it landed that way for everybody, but I think that's like the crux of this movie. That's what one battle after another means. Like, we got to continue to fight. It was ever thus, and it will always be thus. As far as the performances are concerned, Leonardo DiCaprio and Benicio del Toro, when you say, oh, they were so good, it's like that's a nothing statement, right? That's a duh. They're always very good. This might be among the best DiCaprio performances, which is something worth talking about, but you expect them to be of such a high caliber. I think the real standouts, Regina Hall blew me away in this movie, and Teyana Taylor is magnetic. I mean, something incredible and different to see in this movie. But the real standout is Chase Infinity, who is a young actor. This is her feature film debut, and she's already a movie star. I mean, she is standing tall amongst legends of American cinema in this movie, standing out, making herself known, standing next to Sean Penn, standing next to Leo DiCaprio. And that's really cool to see. And I can't wait to see what she does next. I mean, this is her first feature film. I think she had a small role in Presumed Innocent, the Apple TV Plus show, and then like a music video. And that's it. Those are her IMDb credits. And she's crushing it in this giant movie. This is the biggest budget that I think Paul Thomas Anderson has ever had. This is his attempt at what is essentially an action comedy, but it's genre defying for sure. I think if I say action comedy, you're probably thinking of something, a Shane Black movie or a Rush Hour. It's definitely not Rush Hour. You know what I mean? So I don't want you to go in expecting too many explosions. It's got that quirky Paul Thomas Anderson comedy. So when I say action comedy, it's Inherent Vice type comedy, you know, which may not be funny to everybody, like in the same way that a Coen Brothers movie is not funny to everybody. It's almost 3 hours long. It never feels that way. I was a little sad when it ended. I kept kind of not bursting into tears, but for no discernible reason, like, you know, that feeling where it feels like you swallowed like a balloon that starts to kind of well. And that was happening at intervals throughout this movie for no discernible reason. But all in all, I think just the overall message of, hey, man, chill out. This is just the fight that we fight. And it's, you know, it's this what we do. And it's always been this way. That was just a message that was not delivered. And some of the doom and gloom movies that are also timely that have come out this year that are important as well. And I don't think every movie needs to offer a solution or needs to calm everybody down. But it was just really nice to see it framed this way. And I left feeling like we can do this instead of, oh, we're so f***ed, which is how I've been leaving other movies that talk about kind of the nature of the way things are right now. There's so much to talk about, and it's impossible to go too deep without spoilers. But I think it talked about in a very overt way in this movie how a lot of racists actually fetishize Black culture in a really clever way in this movie, in the same way that right-wing homophobic groups crash Grindr when they have conventions. You know, there's a lot of self-hatred and hypocrisy rooted in those beliefs. Paul Thomas Anderson himself, you might think, well, he's not the messenger for maybe this type of movie. And I would agree with you typically, because if you look at his filmography, there's not a lot of people of color featured in his scripts or in his films. And this movie really does a great job of lifting up and centralizing Black women specifically, which is unfortunately new territory for Paul Thomas Anderson. There's so much to talk about, and I haven't fully thought through everything. Just know that I love this movie. It's only the second 5-star film that I've given 5 stars this year so far. This movie's impressive. It's special. It's important. It's going to be talked about decades from now. We've got a new Oscar frontrunner. Any kind of hyperbolic, engagement bait sentence you can think of that is ever applied to a movie can and will be applied to this movie, but it's for a reason. I encourage everybody to go see it. If you're living in the times that we're living in and you're experiencing fear on a daily basis and you're worried about future generations or whether or not they'll even have a chance to exist, and you're worried about the rise of fascism throughout the world, and you're just feeling helpless and lost and alone, and you want to be entertained by some of the best actors of our generation, it's mandatory that you go see this movie. I think it's the first time that you'll leave the theater having talked about those topics, feeling hope. I loved One Battle After Another, and that was a rambling, incoherent, nonsensical diatribe about how I really need to watch it again and collect my thoughts because there's a lot to dive into here. Buy stock in Chase Infinity because she's going to be a star. I hope you enjoyed that. I've got a podcast called Streaming Things where I talk about TV shows mostly. That's on every platform where you can find a podcast, including YouTube in video form. That's Streaming Things. So check that out if you like this. You'll probably like that. I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Movies Are Therapy, doing short form versions of this. Like and subscribe. Follow the YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more deep dives and stuff like this. I will almost certainly do a spoiler review of One Battle After Another. If you would like that, then let me know in the comments. That's all the time I've got for right now. I've got to go return some videotapes. My name is Kit Laser. Thanks for stopping by.